it's the International Volunteers Week this week. Yes, so congratulations. Give yourself a big applause. Woo! So congratulations to you all. As I just wrote here, I'm a big volunteer myself. I don't do it biking. I started a big community in Denmark called Repair Café Denmark. So where we repair stuff for free, also to save the climate and to save the world. And I also do different other types of volunteer work, even with hip hop, which you wouldn't guess, I think. But I'm doing some big events for kids doing hip hop so they can have something to look forward to. So once a year, this year we had almost 1,000 kids in Denmark doing a hip hop competition. It was amazing. So I like doing voluntary work myself. So, but back into to what we are talking about, because I work with happiness at work. And in Denmark, we have this word. I guess you all know the word hygge. Yeah, you know that. But now I want to teach you another very important word, and it's arbejdsglæde. It's not as easy to pronounce as hygge, but arbejdsglæde. Just put your tongue out there. I'll just help you a little bit. It's arbejdsglæde. Arbejdsglæde. Exactly. And it is a word that we have in Denmark, and if we translate it directly into English, it's work happiness, which is a word that you don't have in the English language, right? We have people from Sweden here. How do you say it in Swedish? So it's so close. Norwegian people? Arbejdsglæde. It's almost the same. And people from Finland. Where are you guys? I saw you, I talked to you. Työilo, exactly. I learned that once. I had to go to Helsinki to do a big speak, and I had to learn to pronounce Työilo. Oh, it's so difficult. Can I almost make you unhappy at work trying to learn to say that? So, but this is a word I hope that you'll all remember. Do you have a lot of happiness when you do voluntary work? Yes, of course you do, because it makes us happy. And a lot of studies shows that. But I'll just talk a little about what is happiness at work, what is arbejdsglæde. And as you can hear, it's a word that we have in all the Scandinavian countries. We have a word describing it. We have some people from Holland here, from the Netherlands. Werkgeluk, something. But it's not that common, but it's getting there, I heard. So good for you guys. But what is it? When we look into different scientists and professors, I think one of the professors that actually said it the best is Emilia Simon Thomas from Greater Good Science Center, who don't want to work at the Greater Good Science Center, looking into the science of being happy in life. But Emiliana, she says that happiness at work is an overall sense that you enjoy your time of work. So it's not just like, being a 10 out of 10 all the time. You just have to enjoy it. But you have to feel personally driven and know that you're making a difference, knowing that what you do matters. When you're out being a pilot, does it matter to someone else? Is it meaningful? Is it meaningful? Yes, very. It's so meaningful. You're doing a big difference in the work that you do, and it makes you happy in life. And we know from another scientist that if you feel that what you do is, meaningful, it will give you satisfaction in the job that you do, but it'll also make you happier in life. So it's not only while you're at work, but it will make you happier in life. So continue being a volunteer, please, making a difference, doing something meaningful. We'd like to ask you something. So what makes you happy? What is it in your job that makes you happy? So please stand up. So once again, stand up, find a happy volunteer next to you or behind you. So body up 2 and 2, please. Body up 2 and 2. 2 and 2. Yeah. And, okay, stop. We don't have 10 minutes, we're already 10 minutes behind before I started, I think. So, I'll give you a total of 2 minutes. 1 minute each, and I want you to share, I'll put it up on the screen, tell about a great experience that you had doing some voluntary work, or if you're working a place where the volunteers are coming in, stories that you heard there. And it should be a specific situation, one that made you really happy, or you walked home proud, or really even more happy when you started doing that work. So try to find a specific moment, a specific situation, and share that in 1 minute with your body. First minute, go. Thank you very much. I'll just interrupt for a short second. I'll just interrupt you guys. Woo! Yee-hoo! So if you didn't have the chance to change, please let the other person talk. And if you see me wave like this, it means time is over, right? For last minute, go, last minute. If you didn't have, yeah. Thank you very much. Please end your stories and find your seats. Please find your seats. Woo! So, wow. Please find your seats. Can we agree there are so many good stories to share? How did it feel to share your story? Great, right? You felt that happiness all over again, and just listening to another great story, it also makes you happy. So this is a tip that I'll give you. I hope you'll bring it back to your community, wherever you are in the world, to remember to share the good stories. So we heard also earlier today some great stories, but I think it's important to share them as much as you can. Many people in Denmark actually volunteer. When I look at the numbers worldwide, it looks like 20% are volunteering. But in Denmark, it looks quite high if I look into some Danish organizations. So I think that we can be quite proud of that. But why are we volunteering? Why are you guys volunteering? So we are looking into that. It's mostly because we want to do something meaningful. We want to make a change for others, make a difference in their life. We want to be a part of a cause that we think is close to our heart. And also we want to be part of a community. And we also heard earlier today how important relationships and communities are, and I have this sense of belonging. And that's so important, and it's what's driving us people. It's being a part of a group. So being a part of a community is really important for our happiness in life and at work. So, and also voluntary work. So if we look into you, when you make others happy, it will make yourself happy as well. And you probably heard about kind random actions, random actions of kindness. So when you do that, you can make others happy, but you will become happier yourself as well. And it's the same in what we do. And if you work in a place where you, for example, can offer the elderly people in this elderly home that they can go out on a bike ride, you'll be proud of the workplace that you're in. So you'll actually make the elderly people happy, but also you'll make the people working there proud for being in that home. And you can actually help that place keeping their employees there because they are proud of the work that they place, the workplace that they work. So why is happiness, why does it matter? First of all, it's contagious. When you are happy, it will make others happy. We talked about eye contact this morning. What happens if we have eye contact? We'll instantly start smiling. So, and it's mirror neurons, and a lot of stuff that's going on in our brains. Of course, when we are happy, it makes others happy as well. We also, when we are happy, we'll be healthier. And I was really intrigued when I looked into what about being a volunteer? Of course, we'll be happier when we volunteer because we are making a difference. But it's actually also good for your health to be a volunteer. And I found all these things. If you volunteer, you will actually have a better health and you'll probably live longer. And I think that's amazing to have science backing that up. So continue being a volunteer. We know when people are happy, they are also better at what they are doing. They are better team players. They have more empathy and a lot of other stuff. So, of course, it's important to create a community or a workplace where people can be happy, where they can be themselves. Because a lot of this is also about inclusion, diversity. We have to come as we are, be ourselves. And if we all are more productive, more resilient, better team players, and so on, will actually make it better for the workplace that they can keep you. And you also, earlier today, talked about attracting volunteers and how to keep them. And it's actually the same, that you need them to feel like a part of community. You have to do some different stuff, so you don't have to look for new volunteers all the time. So it's good for the organization, the workplace, if you can create happy employees. There's a Danish study, if you're from Denmark, you probably heard about, they call it arbejdslyst and not arbejdsglæde. So you can say they call it, instead of calling it work joy, they call it work lust. I don't think of what I think about that, but if we can see that if people are non-volunteers, if 100 is the happiest you can be, they are on 73 and the happiness at work, 76 in the happiness in general in life, but if you're a volunteer, both numbers are higher. So I think, again, it's important to see that if we are volunteers, we'll be happier in life and in our work life also. Many of you guys, actually, I think you have a job other than being a volunteer. How many has a full-time job or part-time job where they're getting paid? Many of you guys. And that's why I brought this slide, because if you're volunteering, you will actually be also happier in your paid job. And it's mostly because of these three factors. And I put in the sources where you can look it up. And again, I'm sorry, it's this Danish arbejdslyst index. But it's quite interesting that you'll be happier in your paid work if you're doing voluntary work. And it's not that crazy, because we know if we have a job where it's not that meaningful, if we then do something meaningful in our spare time, it will affect our whole life, also our work life. So how can you become happier, even happier at work? If it's in your voluntary work or in your paid job, there are many things you can do. And I kind of thought about which tips to bring you, because we don't have do these 5 things, they work for everyone, right? We're all different and we have to find out what works for me. But first of all, if we want to do something, it's not enough to just have a thought that, yeah, I want to be better at praising my colleagues, or I want to be better at acknowledging myself and what I do or whatever. So we have this saying in our company is that happiness at work is something we do. So my question to you is, what do you want to do that you know will make you even happier in what you do? What do you want to do more of? Maybe you're doing it already, but can you do even more of that? On the other side, you also have to find out what makes me unhappy in what I do, and how can I do less of that, or give it to some other people that might love that task if it's a task you don't like. Because we're all different. So you have to know yourself. But my first tip is start with yourself. And you know, if you have a bad day, other people will be able to influence you and make you happier. But start with yourself. Take responsibility for your happiness in life and at work when volunteering. I'm a big fan of WD-40. So if you have a bike, you know it's really good to use this. And the former CEO of WD-40, I was fortunate to visit their company in California once, and he's an amazing person and an amazing leader. He wrote books about it, and if you want to go into leadership, he wrote some amazing books. But he said that every day before entering the office, he asked himself, how can I make the most significant positive impact today? So he decided to do something. Happiness at work is something we do. What will I do? You can just cross your arms and sit and wait for others to do it, right? Or not? Probably not. So happiness is contagious. So what do you want to go out there with? What kind of contagious person do you want to be? Is it the person who kind of like people will expect you to be happy, or people will expect you to be like, nah, I don't know. Yeah, can you see it will be raining later on? Be awful to go on that bike. Hate it when it rains. And I'm pretty sure that the person I'm picking up is grumpy today or anything. You kind of like, your head is going on and on. So decide, how do I want to start my day? Tip number 2, and we know that this is one of the most important things to live a happy life, and even to live, we heard this morning, is to have great relationships. And you have to nurture them, to be a part of both a group of people that you see, and also the close relationships. But when you're in a community, you need to nurture them even more. So when you start in a smaller group, get to know each other. I think it was the girls from Ghent who showed that they had so many activities, doing parties together, eating together, having a sightseeing tour together. So make time for your people to get to know each other. It's really important. Offer your help to them. Ask for help. Even maybe some of the people that you ride with, ask them for help. Ask if you can help them. I think you do it all the time, but this is really important for the relationships. Knowledge share. I think this summit here is all about knowledge sharing for you guys. There's so many people who did different stuff in different countries. Learn from each other. It's so important. And to spend time together with your group. I talked to that. Then I think it's important that you communicate to each other the meaning and the bigger purpose in the job that you do as a volunteer. So talk about it as much as you can. Sometimes we forget how important it is and how meaningful it is. Tell each other, share it, communicate the impact that you guys have. And if you want to keep the volunteers, here is some things that some guys found out, that if you want to really keep them for a long time, make sure that they have these great relationships, give them motivation, and have great communication. It's really, and find out what channels, is it Slack, is it text message, is it Facebook, is it whatever, where do you reach your volunteers? They're all different. So sometimes we really have to find out how to invite them and let them feel like they belong. Share your meaningful stories. I already asked you guys 2 and 2 to share a story with each other. So you actually told one and you heard one. But I also kind of like tried to look up on the internet and see, and some of you guys are already really good at it. I found on Instagram something, and also from newspapers, English one and a Danish one, and worldwide there are so many great stories about you guys. So be good to share those. So these are just examples, but it's important. Share them within your community, share them on the social media, but also get them in the newspapers to get the great stories, the good stories out to a wider number of people. And then you should really, really remember to give each other positive feedback, because you're doing such a great work volunteering. So even a high five can do it sometimes, right? No? Stand up. Okay, stand up. Let's see. Stand up. Give 3 people around you a high five. Go. Yes. Thank you. Please sit down. Thank you so much. Amazing. So, how did that feel? Woohoo! Woohoo! Energetic, right? When I go out to companies and we sometimes do this, there will always be a few people in the back like, oh my God, I knew this was coming. But for most of us, it's kind of like, yeah, that gives us energy. And of course, if it's more than just, that was a great ride, thank you for being with me. If it's like more than that, it should be more specific. So the feedback, the acknowledgement, the praise, whatever you will call it, that you take with you is the one where it's specific, telling you what difference you made for another person. So if you want to give great feedback to your co-volunteers, be as specific as you absolutely can. Every time I go out on a tour with you, it makes me feel like this. So the more specific you can be, the more they'll actually remember it and take it in. And maybe, just maybe, frequently, just thank each other for what you're doing. Especially in Denmark, I think we are really bad at saying thank you. We don't even have a word for please, so maybe we're excused, I don't know. I don't know. It's true, we don't have a word for please, I don't know. So, but we should thank each other more. And if it's with a hug, 2 kisses, 3 kisses on the cheek, whatever, but say thankful. Say thank you, it's so, so important. So, go out there, do what you do more of it, and maybe even make others do the same so they can be a part of your community as well, and they can feel that they actually, by becoming a volunteer, can be both happier, healthier, and live longer. Right? So thank you very much for listening. Yeah?
Thank you so much, Arlette. I totally energized.